guys really, really love the show. I've got a home studio in there, keep all my toys and my tools, and I do a lot of projects. We even entertain in there. I'm throwing another girl's birthday party in here for Jessica's Princess. We do. It's become a tradition. The kids love it. It's just last weekend, my grandson was here with his cousin, and it was a little cold Saturday morning. We were doing the Monster Jam last weekend, so it was a little cold Saturday morning, kind of windy, and naturally my son forgot to get their coats. So what we did was just put them in the barn, and they ran around in here like crazy. Turned on some music, and it's so useful to have this kind of thing on your property. If you've got property and you've been considering a pole barn or a structure like that, 100% consider steel. You can make it beautiful. It doesn't have to look like a big sort of commercial building. You can dress them up and make them look nice. And the company to do that is All American Metals, aa-metal.com. They're over in the Bessemer Hugh area. Just the best. These guys are great. Patriots, 2 generations. And, you know, barns like mine are on the low end of the things they do. And they're on the easy end, I guess you would say. The big mega projects, giant warehouses with huge steel construction and framing, they produce all of that themselves. They have their own factories. They produce all the components, stack it together, put it in a package for you, and it's fully integrated. I tell you, every night they do the design work if you need that. Unless you may have a custom set of plans, they can produce those for you, which is a great benefit when you get financing or get zoning approval for your project. Again, whether it's commercial retail build outs, mini warehouses, giant warehouses, add-on space, pole barn sheds, whatever you got going on. This is all inclusive. It's turnkey, and since they're in control of the whole process, it gets done quickly. And in this industry, I mean, they've worked with everybody. So if you need help getting it out of the ground and vertical, they'll get you lined up with either one of their folks or one of the many fine contractors that work with them on a regular basis. And man, you'll be dried in no time. It's All American Metals. Let me give you that website again. Tell those guys I said hello, aa-metal.com, aa-metal.com. Man, the King Charles thing kind of took off. I'm watching reaction to it where he is just not going to talk about Easter this year. Is Keith still there, AJ? We'll get a couple calls in on that before I switch subjects. If he's still there, I didn't even see his call there on the call board. Keith, what's up, buddy?
Hey, man, I just thought I would call and say that it don't matter. I don't know why they hadn't figured this out. It don't matter what they do. They're still going to try to kill him anyway. When he comes over for that visit, I hope Trump chews his tea and crumpets out, man. And much as I would hate to lose the bus to Churchill, I'd love for him to take it and maybe shove it up his Blarney Stone for a little bit. So maybe just a little bit of the sense would bleed back out into him or leach back out into him. And so what was the name of that weenie prime minister before Churchill that basically tried to negotiate with Hitler and appease Hitler? I can't remember his name.
Oh, yeah.
That's what they are now. I mean,
yeah.
My God, that's exactly who they are. They're just living it again. I mean, are they that stupid? Is it a willingness stupid, Leland, or do you think it's just willingness on purpose or just accidental stupidity?
It's just weakness. It's just pure weakness, which always ends up on the wrong end. You're thinking about Chamberlain, and I love the tea and crumpets reference. The Blarney Stone's actually Irish, and we sometimes lump them together.
Yeah, but it's
the
all
Irish
part of the UK.
It's more the people over in Ireland this is more of a reason for them to be pissed off. Scotland's gotten weird too, as much as they consider themselves sort of a separate area. They've been very appeasy with this kind of stuff too. The whole region, I mean, Germany's got this problem. France has had this problem, and you know, the French are the French. But I'm telling you, the king thing is so symbolic of surrender. And as you said, it will not help them in any way. He's staving off what is the eventual defeat of his country by these people. I promise you, in 20 years, you won't see any Christian representation anywhere in that country. Anywhere. It'll be gone.
It's that, and you know, in Spain, I mean, beware the Moors about to have the whole new meaning come back around again if they keep it up.
Yeah, they've got a little history themselves. Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah.
It's happening, dude. It's just world history. It's what happens. All right, man. Appreciate it, buddy. Cool. Good call, Keith. Keith fired up too. Yeah, this is right before Easter. I mean, they could have put this out last week, so everybody could have gotten it off their chest by now. So here we are approaching Good Friday. People approaching Passover. People are approaching this whole Holy Weekend, and then they whip this out, and everybody's like, "Do what?" I mean, they really don't talk like that over there. They go, "Do what?" Yeah, so fun times. If there anything else, any other reaction to it, we'll throw that out there too. Let me switch to Tiger Woods for a minute. I know we got the Pam Bondi thing. I think she's out speaking right now. They're putting a brave face on it. She's got another job. She's going to be around for a month to hand off to Todd Blanche, and it's one of these adjustment things in the administration is the way they're seeing it. I think there's a little more scandal behind the scenes about all this that if we pick up on, we'll let you know about too. But the Tiger Woods thing today, okay, that happened. We were on the air when we heard he'd had a wreck. And, the sequence of events was, oh, wow, I hope he's okay. People have wrecks. But Tiger Woods, of course, has a history of these things. And then it came out that it was a DUI arrest. Well, it wasn't alcohol. And people immediately suspected pills. And we know about all his surgeries and his pain. And then I think folks kind of backed off a little bit. One, Tiger Woods is such a likable guy. You hate to see a downfall of somebody who's trying to, I think he legitimately is trying to do the right thing in his life after, some stupid mistakes in his past. He's a much more mature Tiger Woods than we've seen in a long time. He was trying to make this sports come back, and then this thing happens. Then the video came out today, and it's bad. Like he can't even stand up. The car's over there flipped on its side. It's amazing no one got killed. And he's having to sort of take a knee. The cops are very, very professional with him. But they had to do their job. And by doing that job, they gave him a field sobriety test. And that's not always, people get that confused with alcohol. He blew negative for alcohol because it wasn't alcohol, but there are other things that cops can do on the side of the road to test you for your acuity and your alertness. Because you can be inebriated with other things, as we all know. And indeed, he was just a toxic waste dump of some of this kind of medication, which he admitted to the police that he had taken. So they put him in the back of the car, and granted, he's dealing with this again. And he just, you can see it on his face. He knows the trouble he's in, but at the same time, he says he was distracted for a minute, messing with the radio or something, came up on this truck pulling a trailer is what I understand. So one of those lawn service trucks, very small street. He was going at a high rate of speed, and he lost control. So let's review some of that stuff. If you watch the video, he's a human being, and he ain't looking good right there as a human being. I think it's a huge lesson for people, though, because I've had friends in my life that have gone through surgeries and neck pain and back pain from car wrecks and other incidents where suddenly your life is just debilitated by pain, and the only thing that can get you through the day, the only thing that can get you up on your feet every day are having these medications. And some of y'all may be going through that right now for a bunch of reasons. Back pain will own everything in your life, neck pain, all these things. And here's a guy who not only was just trying to be functional, he's trying to play on a professional level in a sport where he was once the best in the world. So again, it's a double message. It's not just that you feel sorry for him, but I think it's a moment where people ought to relate to him. None of us are Tiger Woods and have the ability to avoid this better than he does with his resources and the ability to let somebody else drive for him. But what he did, in my estimation, based on watching those videos, is he lost judgment. And that's one of the first things that goes when you start getting addicted. You will harm people you love. People can get in these circumstances and it'll ruin lives. People start stealing from their relatives, and they'll start making bad calls just to feed the addiction. And it's different. You feel like it's a different addiction than some heroin addict laying in an alley or somebody smoking meth in the woods. But it's still an addiction, and it completely consumes and owns people. And it's clear that he is desperately addicted to all this pain medication for a very understandable reason, but a reason I think that can intrude on all of our lives, that we need to all be paying attention to this. In other words, if you've got somebody in your life that's going through this, it's just so hard to help and hard to watch. But monitor the addictions and give them the resources they need to not be a danger to themselves or somebody else. By losing judgment, in his mind, I'm 100% certain, I don't think he would have harmed anybody that day. He's not the same sort of cocky, arrogant Tiger Woods that we used to see. And I'm not even a big golf fan. I just know the guy's story. I think he went out to do whatever he normally does. He wants to be. Guys, we get prideful. And what's something we always tell, if you got somebody in your life that loves you, says, can you do that? Or are you okay? First thing you tell them is, I'm good. I'm good. And that is denial. That's not confidence. That's denial. And I think he was in that moment. It's reported now that the Secret Service had already told him, because of his ongoing chronic condition, that he was not allowed to haul the president's grandchildren around. He is dating the president's former daughter-in-law, and that would be Kai Trump and the others, and they weren't allowed to be in a car with him. So they were even aware that he was a danger to himself and anybody that was in the car with him, but yet he was out on the road. Now, the heavy-handed approach is, and that's from the days of Mothers Against Drunk Driving, and man, y'all, I've been to so many drunk driving accidents where people died, and some of us have experience in our lives knowing people that did these kind of dumb things. But it's, I think, not that it's different or better or worse, because they're both impaired driving and they're both dangerous. But there's one thing to go to a bar and slam 10 drinks and walk out of there stumbling and go kill somebody. It's another when this pain stuff is with you every day. You're taking these things every day to be functional. You believe you've got it managed, but you don't. You're about 2 or 3 steps slower than the rest of the world. Your reaction time is slower. You're not normal. You're not focused, and you're a danger to yourself and your family and anybody in the car with you and anybody on the road, period. He's lucky that didn't result in his death or the death of another person. Had this been on a major road, it could have been a whole lot worse. But I do think there's a lesson in this. The Woods folks said today that he's given up golf now, and he's got to move on. And I guess now that you see the videos, you realize how bad it actually was. This one wasn't a one-off, and he's got a pattern of this. So you got to hope he gets the help. You got to hope he can wean from the pain pills that he may need just to be. And imagine it's one thing to feel like you got to take them to get up and go to work. But for him, getting up and going to work means competing on a professional level. And I think I was just saying that a second ago, swinging a golf club and carrying the clubs and doing the things they have to do what he does. And so he's probably even more obsessed with his ego wants to make that comeback, be on the stage again, and even a further deeper state of denial. And boy, did that become dangerous when you see how utterly pathetic he looks crouched down and in that cop car over pain medication and everything else he was medicating himself with. I guess my bottom line, let me just get to the bottom line again, is this is a real situation that I think affects a lot of people in this country. Probably a lot of you right now nodding your heads because you've got somebody in your family like this, or maybe it's you. You've been able to get to work today and you're on your way home, but man, without those things, it's hard to function, and you believe you've got it managed, but do you? Get somebody in your life that's accountability enough to give you the truth about that and where you stand. If it's nothing, talk to your doctor about it and try to get it managed before you spiral, because you can be well-intentioned of taking care of your family, getting up and going to work. Somebody's got to pay the bills. I get all that, man. The pressure of, let me just speak to the head of household or whoever you are in your family. If you've got that kind of economic pressure that you've got to do it, you got to get up. I can't let this get to me. The pills seem like a path to do that, to take care of people and to do the right thing so that you don't just fall apart. But at the same time, if you're no longer as alert as you should be, you shouldn't be driving a car. You shouldn't be putting other people's lives in hand. And I think a lot of folks know that. But again, Tiger Woods just demonstrated that in front of all of us, that we all need to pay attention to the lesson he's had to learn. And I don't know, there's always ways to learn from tragedy, especially things in the news. And that's something that could have happened to a lot of people right now that are out there, probably on the roads around you right now. Get it together, y'all. Let's all get it together and learn from that. And I do hope he recovers. I hope he can get himself right as a human being. I don't care if he ever swings another golf club again. Dude could have been dead last week. All right, that's another one of the stories that's out today. There's been a lot of stuff today. 545-9950. If you want to get on the show, bring it. All-American Metals. Oh, I already told you about All-American Metals. Let me talk about another person that can help you with your property. It's Ox Foundation Solution, and those guys, Kevin and the whole team over there, man, they're good. They're so good. If you got foundation issues of any kind, encapsulation can solve a lot of those problems. So as we head into the humid months of the year, it's a little more obvious when you've got moisture coming up. Even mold can become more apparent during those I think it was a little bit humid today. I can tell it's on the way. Y'all, let's talk to Ox and get them to go ahead and take care of these problems. They will remediate mold or do the encapsulation. Now, the bigger surfaces they do, and because they do all of them, this is who you want taking a look under there. They can level your house. They can fix those shifts and cracks. They get that water out that's trying to intrude. All of it can kind of work together to just kind of conspire against your whole home and do a lot of damage. The earlier you detect things, the better. So even if you got the slightest suspicion that something's not quite right with your house right now, that crack suddenly showed up on a corner somewhere in the bricks or even inside your home, time to get it looked at. Ox is the company I trust to send to your house. Oxstrong.com, O-X, oxstrong.com. Quick break, back in a minute. Leland Live. All right, let's keep on going. It's 3:24 this afternoon. If you got any gift giving to do this spring, let me send you over to Allen and Company. If it's something beautiful in the way of fine jewelry, man, they've got beautiful stuff in that store. And everybody's price range. I mean, it's a custom one of a kind type store anyway. So if there's a bracelet or a necklace, even those little cross necklaces they have, all these um, gifts that may be perfect for the Easter season. to commemorate another year with somebody that you love that way. There they are at Allen and Company. When graduation season comes around here, believe it or not, in just a few weeks, they do laser etching and can engrave anything you need in the way of that kind of gift giving to commemorate that graduate and that special graduation year. All of that with the Thompsons at Allen and Company. And of course, always the big ticket stuff, the beautiful engagement settings, the ring upgrades that are so popular now with people upgrading those diamonds from the original setting. They can repurpose the old diamond. And look, Allen's a master jeweler and can repair anything, fix anything, change the size, clean it, fix it, whatever. Missing stones, all of those things are done in-house. Everything stays in their vault in Vestavia. They don't ship things off and get work done. It's all done right there under one roof, and you can trust them. What a great family. Once you meet them, you'll have your own personal jeweler too. It's Allen and the whole Thompson family over in Vestavia near the car wash. I like to give y'all landmark directions. Allen and Company in Vestavia. Allen and Company. All right, let me throw some other completely different stuff on the table. We got lots of little nitpicky stories this afternoon. Apparently, the Republicans, both chambers, have now passed this public service reform bill. I was trying to get my head around it. It was still a subject of great controversy. In fact, Arnold Mooney, who I used to know years ago through some stuff with my kids' high school, and I've met him a few times since he got into public service. But apparently the Republicans threw him out of their caucus meeting because he was trying to record the meeting in the midst of the behind-the-scenes debate over this bill. Now, they call it the Power to the People Act, and we should throw them all out for calling it that, but whatever. And it was sponsored by Clyde Chambliss. He's another guy. I used to know him when he was a civil engineer, and he used to do work for us a long time ago. But Clyde sponsors this bill, and the way I understand it, they're going to expand the PSC from 3 seats to 7 seats based on congressional districts. And immediately the governor's going to appoint, so when it goes from 3 to 7, there are going to be 4 immediate openings. So the governor will make the initial appointment. And then these guys they'll serve out, I guess, a 2-year term. I don't know. It gets a very complicated formula. And then eventually, allegedly, they're all going to be elected by congressional district. All the seats will be elected seats. I don't know if they got rid of, and I haven't had a chance to read the bill. 1819's got a really good write-up on it. Caleb Taylor writing a piece on it if you want to go read the details about it. But this has been ugly. This whole thing has been ugly from the beginning to reconstitute the PSC. And what it boils down to, in my estimation, the whole impetus behind this, because they got caught on another hidden audio message. The lobbyist for Alabama Power Company got caught talking about the power company wanting this thing passed. They're trying to pretend like they were hands off of it, and they weren't. So they wound up firing the guy. I think he was just sacrificial so they could get the PR right and come back and get another bite at the apple. Bottom line is, when they want something, they get what they want from the legislature, period. And a lot of the critics of the bill believe they have watered down the people's actual, even though they're more elected positions, the way they funneled the power structures, they've watered down control by the public over the PSC in the beginning with this whole bill. So it'll constantly be under scrutiny. So where are we with this? The PSC, if I got to be real with y'all, was kind of toothless and didn't have a whole lot of power anyway. I've got friends that have served on the PSC. It's kind of a no-show job. They have these hearings nobody attends. They have a little staff. It's a pretty well-paid position. Nobody pays attention to it. Election time, you go to the polls, you don't even know who these people are that are running for it. So it's an odd model in the beginning, and it gives this semblance of control over rates and accountability for utilities. The truth is, years ago, Alabama, the legislature took away the power for the PSC to really hold down rates and put it into this formula that allows the power company to get a sort of a guaranteed margin, which, again, I understand and support. I want them to be able to function and provide electricity, and I know the demands are going to be crazy with this new world we're heading into with AI and data centers and all that. But this move right now, the way they shoved this through and the way there was such contentiousness, and that's true of a lot of bills that come up over time, it was just a completely ugly process. I think the people will lose any control. We'll have another symbolic vote on another symbolic commission, but it's just the way things go when the big boss wants something down there. Money talks. It just does. I used to live it, y'all. They're big entities that really run things down there. I don't care who you elect. And it does not matter that they have an R next to their name, because the R's are doing what the D's used to do. It's just a fact. Back in a minute. All right, y'all. Danny Knowles with the Knowles Group. Let's talk about your money for just a minute. It was so nice getting to hang out with him and get to see his family and his sons and Sherry and the whole gang. A lot of folks from our hometown showed up over there the other day as they have opened up their new offices over in the Colonnade. Danny's just a great guy. He's a straight shooter. He has done so well in his business of taking care of people and their investments. And I am just telling you, especially in times like this when any kind of headline can make the markets jitter. You want to have a clear, longer term view. You can't play. If you want to day trade and risk your money that way, man, have at it. Just do it. Do what you want. But if you're looking long term, you got a date out in mind or an age out in mind where you want to have your money start working for you. Or maybe you're already there and you'd like a little better return on your money, some more accountability, better communication, whatever it is you need. Reach out to Danny and his team. His three sons are there in the business with him now, and such gentlemen and so smart. They've learned from the best. And I'm telling you, it is a fine firm. They'll give you their best judgment and help you make good decisions. And he would even tell you, if you don't go to them, don't trust your own instincts or emotions when it comes to this kind of investigating, because your emotions will lie to you. You'll get jumpy or you'll get too excited and make a bad move. The long-term strategies over the years are provably better than that kind of approach, and that's what they're there for. It's the Knowles Group. They have a mighty fine show that they do on our station on the weekends. In fact, I was getting the broadcast from the room where they record that show every week, and that's a neat little setup there in their offices. Makes it convenient for them to get that show out. But it's worth the listen if you're out bopping around on the weekend and you happen to come across the show. It airs at various times here on the station. But those guys give some good free advice about investing. And if you just want a second set of eyes from somebody that I've known since I was 10 years old and I know works hard and does this thing, it is Danny Knowles at theknowlesgroup.com, N-O-L-E-S, theknowlesgroup.com. Real quick, let's take a look at the markets. The Dow was down 61 today. NASDAQ up 38. Percentage-wise, that's not a big move in either direction. The markets have become less volatile. Now, we had the big update, just happened to be the day I was over at the Knowles Group, where they climbed 1,100 points, and it's kind of hung out there for a minute. They're just waiting for the next announcements. I did stay up. Say stay up because I'm getting the age where you put the president on at 8 o'clock at night. I may or may not be awake, but I watched the president last night. Much of what he said, we've heard him say before, but the point of a speech like that, when you try to command a national audience and get the networks to turn over airtime to you so that you can address the nation, he was punching through to people that didn't know those things. And I have to remind myself of that. We swim in the sound bites every day in my world. I'm watching everything he says. We're talking about it on shows like this. But some people didn't know the history. One of the biggest, he had several moments in there that I thought were important for people that might have been watching. And if you're just not a news person or you're just busy with your life, or maybe you just got the wrong influences, you're sitting around watching shows that have lied to you for years on CNN and The View and places like that. I don't even know how people consume that stuff. But people do, and that's why those shows have some audiences. But they would never hear some of the absolute facts that the president spit out last night, both about this country and the prospects for the timeline. For example, he pointed out the atrocities that the Iranians have been involved in against us for 47 years. And he listed the Beirut bombing where a couple of hundred Marines were killed. He did the Khobar Towers. He did the USS Cole. These are all incidents that are burned in my mind. So I intuitively just assume people know. And that's a mistake I think my generation has made in raising these kids that are now in their 20s and 30s, is we just assumed our institutional knowledge of how bad the Soviets were, how bad communism was, how bad this third world ideology of Islam and the dangers of the terrorism that comes with it, how bad and threatening those things are to our way of life. And we just went through life assuming, yeah, they'll pick up on that. I'll tell them about it. Dad's got this experience, but I don't think they know. It just occurred to me there's just so many people that don't know Iran's real history. It's just it's just another country over there. It's just another country. This is another Afghanistan. It's not. It's a completely different situation. And I think it's important to bring people up to speed on the violent, dangerous, maniac history these mullahs have had in taking over this country and how they have just destroyed people and lives. There are people right now hunkered down in apartments and houses all over that country wanting to explode into the streets and get their freedom. Their grandmother was snatched up during the 1979 takeover of that country and killed. Their grandfather paid for it with their lives. Some of their families fled and they haven't seen them in decades. There are people that have lived this, and we don't even have a good comprehension of it as Americans anymore. Unless you're my age or older and you lived through the early vestiges of how bad these people actually were. I say were because most of the ones that were in positions of power are now dead. So, but they're still a threat because it's multi-layered. We've gone after the military, and the military was their outward reach to their neighbors and to the region, and of course to Israel and the rest of the world with the choking off the Strait of Hormuz. But the inward reach they have is through the IRCG, and that's got to get dismantled too, and that's harder to do. They're more like termites. They don't have big facilities that are easily targetable, and I think efforts are being made to get that under control too, so people will be able to maybe take their country back. I think the president laid out three things that from the beginning. He said it repeatedly, despite the fact that you'll have Democrats and news anchors say, well, we're just not clear on what we're doing. To hell, we're not. Everybody knows that if you've got real knowledge of this country, you understand the threat. If you listen to the president and Hegseth and the Secretary of State, Rubio, and all of them, they've told us repeatedly, we're going to destroy their Navy. We're going to destroy their military. We're going to get rid of their ability to produce nuclear weapons. Now we've got the situation, the byproduct of it was this forever known situation where the Strait of Hormuz is a threat to the region economically. Well, we've got regional people that need to come in and help with that, and they're starting to. Some of that's coming up. And also, one other note I wanted to say on how sensitive the strait is. And it's hard to describe this on the radio. I can't show you an animated map. But, you know, if you've been watching the maps and studying the issue, you see how that body of water bends around toward Iran, and it's like a turn in a river, really. And it's only at the choke point, it's 22 miles across. And then beyond that, there's a 2-mile wide channel where the ships can go. So really, we're talking about a 2-mile stretch of water. And then I started watching the animated graphics of the ships that are moving through. And I didn't even know this. I didn't realize how close to the Iranian shoreline these ships have to go to traverse the strait. Makes it even more vulnerable. In other words, I guess I should have been up on my game. I knew there was this narrow 2-mile channel, and Iran has the whole sort of eastern or northern coastline all along the strait to threaten ships. But the ships actually have to go very much toward their coast to be able to get through that narrow gap. And when you watch the animated traffic, you see how even more vulnerable it was than we realized. I mean, you could see these tankers. If you were standing on the shore in Iran, you could shoot a hunting rifle at these boats. It's that close. So I'm telling you, we're going to have to keep an eye on the situation, and we will the markets. But the president last night spoke of 2 weeks for our part, maybe 3 on the outset, because the Israelis have other target lists they want to get to. And that would be an objective ending. There are different ways to wind it down. You got people that will say, what about the Iranian people? What about the strait? What about the nuclear material? And maybe in the next 2 weeks, all that gets solved. But Trump is wise not to give away any strategy on those points, or not to allow those points to be something that drags the war out. We stated the objective. The target lists are being hit and gone through one by one. When we get to the end of that, the objective thing to do is listen to your generals and say, have we completed that mission? We're out. And then the chips will fall like they will, and as some believe, will just naturally fall in the right direction. We'll have to just wait and see which direction Trump takes, but that's kind of the situation, and it's kind of the vibe you're getting from the White House right now about we're going to stick to what we said, and that's it. We're done. We have eliminated the threat. We did all the hard stuff. It's up to the people of Iran and the people of the world to deal with the strait and the freedom of those people. And I think they've got pretty good intelligence that is kind of being set up. So we hope so anyway, at least for the people there. The other thing he pointed out too, and I thought I want to say it was brilliant. And the reason I want to say that is because I've said it over and over, and others have said it as well, is as far as our patience with situations like this, We ought to be embarrassed as Americans that the biggest thing we've got to bitch about is that gas goes up $1 and over a conflict that is now 32 days old. And so the president pointed out, and I don't know who put it in the speech, but it's just clear writing, all of the timelines around World War I, World War II, the Korean War, and how many years we were involved there. Iraq was, 8 years? He went through each one of them. The smallest one was 1 year and 3 months. I think that was World War I, our involvement anyway. And so big wars like this against whole nations or with whole nations involved have always come with tremendous sacrifice, loss of life, loss of equipment and resources, years in the making to come to a conclusion with no certain outcome. This thing was over before it started militarily. Within hours, we had total control of the region. Now it's mopping up. And Americans want to run around and lose patience. Of course, our forefathers that had to do the leadership to manage those conflicts didn't have to deal with social media and people being neurotic. But it's a lesson for us. Hang on, fill your tank up, pay a little more for your gas for a minute, and you'll have energy freedom and economic freedom for years to come. This is a generational change in the world map. This will change for decades how all of this stuff gets decided, and it needed to have been done a long time ago. We're just now getting around to it. So I'm just saying, be patient, be strong, like Americans should be. We just sent a rocket ship to the moon. We are back. By the way, none of that would be going on without Trump's first administration when he revived the space program after Obama killed it. People that hate this country don't want this country to shine. They don't want this country to be competitive and beat the rest of the world to exploration or anything. So they kill programs like the space program. They want us to take a back seat to everybody else. And so symbolically, if not just symbolically, the science alone behind this moon mission is part of the same storytelling of taking out threats to the world like the Iranian mullahs. It's America asserting its rightful place of doing what's right, pushing forward, and leading the rest of the world in the best way we know how, as we have done for most of 250 years. Work Trucks bringing you the show tonight, TRUX, worktrucksllc.com. Y'all, this is a great operation. If you got a business, a church, an entity of any type, and you're wanting to get your stuff up and down the road, but save some money in doing so, y'all got to go see Work Trucks. This is a wonderful operation Bubba has put together. They do a lot of work to go find the best vehicles in business and in commerce. These are commercially based vehicles that are designed just for this kind of work, commercial work, get it done kind of work. And there they are downtown. They've already found the trucks. They've already gone through them, 125 points. They got everything ready for you. All you got to do is go kick tires and cut the deal. They back them with warranties. They'll take care of you. If they don't have a configuration of a business truck down there that you want, let them go search it out for you. They're the best at finding these things in the first place with low miles. It's TRUX, worktrucksllc.com, worktrucksllc.com. All right, I see a couple of y'all on the phones. We'll do phones when we come back. Leland Live. All right, y'all, get back in here. Birmingham Broker bringing you the show tonight. BHamBroker.com. If you got a car, truck, SUV, anything like that to sell, let them sell it for you. They'll broker it out there into the world, get you a retail price. That's a whole lot better than a wholesale price. That can be thousands of dollars. And I remember when I was first doing car trading, when I had my first cars, the difference is about $2,000, which is a lot of money back then. Man, it can be as much as $8,000 nowadays with the price of cars. The difference between what they will call a wholesale price and a retail price. Don't do that, man. Get the full thing with Birmingham Broker. They know what it's worth. They know how to market it, find you a buyer, do all the haggling, handle the paperwork. I hate all that tedious stuff. And then get it going. You get a check and you're on with life, no matter what you're driving. There has been a huge demand just around Christmas time. Craig and them were begging for cars, man. They said, bring them in. We need cars to sell. And so, because there are a lot of buyers that showed up, I think the interest rates got better. And sometimes it's just there's pressure on the market because people have to trade. They have to go find stuff. Pre-owned is a good way to do it. It's Birmingham Broker, downtown Birmingham. Get to know Craig and Keith, and you'll have a huge resource to help with these kind of things. BHamBroker.com, BHamBroker.com. Well, AJ, my board went down, so I'm trying to make sure I got the right. Is Will still there on line one? Am I correct on that? All right, let's talk to Will real quick. Will, what's up, buddy?
Leland,
Hey.
first of all, the greatest bumper music in the history of any talk show in America, and I've been all across the fruited plains, all right?
Yeah, man.
Leland?
Yeah, I'm listening to you. Can you hear me?
Leland, I'm concerned about your take on Tiger Woods. I'm a former cop. The thing is, when you know you haven't been drinking and you're quick to do the triple zeros on the blow up.
Mm-hmm.
But if you have a problem with pain medication, no matter whether you have a couple of hydrocodones in your pocket, etc., you have a prescription for it. So there's no reason whatsoever not to do the urine test. On the other hand, if you're all bloated up and your eyes are red and you're sweating profusely, etc., and also coming off of a wreck, there's a damn good chance you might have been on that crack pipe or the residue, several days later after some meth or whatever. So it makes no sense for him, pain or not to do a urine test if you're doing only prescription drugs. And you printed him out as a saint here when you have no evidence of that whatsoever. So I was just wondering why you told your listeners this is all about his pain medicine. What did you base that on?
I think maybe you took it the wrong way. I'm just trying to say I think there are people that are on pain meds right now that are not capable of functioning in an automobile. We don't know what all was in his petri dish of toxicity. And, the video, you being more...
Precisely my point. So why not take the urine test if you just have...
I'm not the one peeing in the cup, is what I'm trying to tell you. I think he should. Perhaps he should. What I'm saying is the pain pill part of that. We know this is part of the story because he admitted it to the cops, and we know he's been through the surgeries, has sent him down a path with whatever else he was on, and that'll get shaken out in the investigation, as you well know. And your power to observe the video is better than mine. You've observed people, if you're in the business, that have been inebriated on a lot of things. You can probably tell the difference by looking at them. I can't. All I'm saying is I think it's a moment on the minimum end for people that have this in their life, people that are addicted to pain medication but are trying to function, to check themselves right now, in addition to whatever else he may be doing. I'm not saying what he did was minimal or right at all. I'm saying that the rest of us need to find a lesson in this, because regular people, not just Tiger Woods, who's trying to get himself to a professional level, but regular folks out here I've known people that have gone down this path. I had a friend whose whole marriage got ruined by this because this person became so addicted they started stealing. They're also a danger to themselves and the public if you head down pain pill addiction path and you're not even aware of yourself or you're overconfident.
I agree with everything you're saying, but why did you take the breathalyzer and decline the urine test if he's just on prescription drugs?
Well, it may be more than that, for sure. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I didn't think you clarified that in your defense of him, but
again, it wasn't even a defense of him. It was a sense of trying to understand how somebody with all that going on in his life could still wind up on that path. And good and well, it started with some of these surgeries. We've known that.
I understand.
This wasn't part of his story. Here's a guy who has the whole world by the tail, and his downfall started, well, I guess his personal, not banging all the ladies. That was a big part of it too. But his real serious downfall, all these car wrecks. And remember the time they just found him asleep behind the wheel? He was pulled over. He wasn't driving, but he was asleep. He was loaded then. The talk screen on that was a Petri dish. What I'm saying is that all started with something as simple as back pain and a prescription, and it looks like he went down a path that we've all seen before.
I got your take on it. Love your show.
All right,
Thanks
bro.
for taking
I got you.
call.
Look, I appreciate the challenge. I'm not trying to be soft on Tiger Woods. He was a threat to the public that day. I'm trying to find some learning opportunities in watching this guy fall apart right in front of us and realize that this just isn't celebrities. Not everything is a crackhead shooting up needles, out in an alley somewhere. Sometimes it's so with us and around us. We got prescriptions for it, and it's in the. Do we still have medicine cabinets? It's in the car. It's in your purse. It's in your carry bag. But people are functioning out there, and they're a threat to the rest of us when they're not aware of this stuff or the path that they could get on. You could wind up taking, because you keep chasing something to stop the pain. I've got friends I've known that have gone through this and had their lives flipped upside down, or their spouses. And you're chasing that pain pill, and it's not enough, and you add something to it, then you chase something else. And we got to do a better job of that as a country anyway, in the way we do those prescriptions. But I think it's just more ubiquitous, and we need to be paying attention to it is all. I think that was the point of what I was trying to say. Maybe I didn't say it right, but I appreciate it, Will. All right, buddy. Henry, I see you over there. If you can hang on, we'll get to you in a minute. And all of y'all's calls, 545-9950. Stay tuned.